Hi, and welcome to Crypto Chats, a podcast that explores cryptids, alien encounters, and ghost stories.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Crypto Chats. Today we're going to talk about, we're actually going to do ghost stories today, which I think is fun. I haven't done them yet, but now is a good time, if any. So we're going to kick it off today with a ghost story from Hawaii. We're talking about the Green Lady of Wahiawa. This story is really cool, and it's interesting to me too because I've been a paranormal investigator for a very long time. I've been doing it since I was a small child, and I'm always ready to hear a ghost story. I'm always ready to listen to a legend or a tale of some paranormal being, and the thing that you hear most often is like ladies in white or ladies in black, and the green lady is not a super, I don't know, common occurrence, I suppose I'll say. So it's interesting to me to find one. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And then I have a couple of ghost stories that I want to tell you guys, just legends of places that I've been, that I've experienced in the last year. And yeah, so let's get into it. So the Green Lady of Wahiawa, I don't really have a start date for this one, and that's okay, but she kind of hangs out at the Wahiawa Botanical Gardens in Hawaii, and she is this really scary, like ghostly lady who steals children. Don't we love a ghost woman who steals children? So we're going to start kind of at the beginning where her lore begins. And I mean, to my knowledge, like I said, I didn't get like a start time for it. I mean, there's no like, oh, this is exactly when this started. But I don't have like, the date and time that this woman would have actually existed. So we're just going to go with it anyway. So the legend of the Green Lady of Wahiawa is that this woman used to take her children to the botanical gardens very regularly, to just, get them, I don't know, like educated in plants. And also it's just something to do. Like my parents took me to the YMCA a lot when I was a kid because they were like, you have nothing else to do. Here's go swimming. So I understand. Anyway. And so the Wahiawa Botanical Garden was along a busy street, and there was a bridge, and then alongside the bridges there was what is referred to in this story as a gulch, but I kind of refer to it a little more as a ditch. So like, the ditches off the side of the highway if you're going up like 101 East. There's like the ditches on the side, but that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so she would bring her children to the Wahiawa Botanical Gardens regularly, right? And because the busy street was next to the bridge, she didn't like to have her children like walk next to the busy street. So she would have them go through the gulch and like cross through the gulch to get to the botanical gardens instead because she thought it was safer. Basically, what happened was that one day she's leaving the botanical gardens, she's on her way out, her kids are with her, and they get separated in the gulch outside of the botanical gardens. And she spent some time looking for them, could not find her children, and that is where this legend is born. And there are a couple different, I guess, things that supposedly happened. She either spent all of her time looking for her children in the gulch, and then, grew old and eventually died and was just doomed to spend the rest of her life looking for her children in the gulch, or she died in the gulch looking for her children afterwards. I don't know, obviously. I'm not sure which one is the truth. It could be both. What if it's both? That's fun. So, this is kind of where it gets a little interesting because I know that everybody has like a local ghost story that, the kids tell each other to try to scare them. Like we see it in movies all the time. Like the kids are like, "Oh my god, that house is really haunted. Like pay $5 to go sleep in it." Blah blah blah. And that's very apparent here too. That children now still are like, "Oh, I don't know. Like I dare you to go through the gulch at night." And some of the brave kids and adults and people of all ages who have done that, gone and stayed in the gulch at night or hung out in it or whatever, gone close to it, have reported that this ghost woman does in fact roam the gulch. And her description is kind of terrifying, like, but also like she sounds beautiful. So green skin covered in fishy scales, almost like mermaid-esque, but like kind of grosser. With like long black hair that's like somewhere a mix between like seaweed and like rotting moss. Picture like a siren, I guess, if I had to compare her to something, I would think it would be like a siren, but like the more realistic version of what a siren would look like, and not like a beautiful like mermaid woman, but like a scary monster that is gonna eat you. And she supposedly has like really jagged teeth. And she, like I said earlier, is doomed to search the gulch for her children forever. And I don't know, I looked into a lot of this stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep in the middle of researching this one and then just never went back to it because that's part of who I am. But I did not ever find anything about if people see the spirits of her children, or if people, I don't know. I just like, I didn't find any like really solid sightings other than like, here's a description, here's what she does. But she does supposedly steal people's children, which is part of the reason kids dare each other to go and hang out in the gulch, because they're like, haha, she's gonna steal you. Which is funny. Well, no, it's not funny, but it's kind of funny because I can remember like being a child and being like, something's gonna happen to you. Because I used to do that shit with my brothers all the time when I was a small child. So, anyway, that's kind of all I have on the Green Lady of Wahiawa, just because, like I said, I fell asleep in the middle of researching it, but I got the solid information for you guys. That's, like, the majority of it. And this is ghost stories, too, so, like, there aren't super solid reports, usually. A ghost story is a little bit different than a cryptid sighting, where, like, I don't know, I feel like more people can experience a ghost than the average person experiences a cryptid encounter, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, as someone who's been a paranormal investigator for almost 17 years now, like, I have experienced significantly more ghosts than cryptids, excuse me. Just burped. And, honestly, it's sometimes a bummer because I would love to see a cryptid because, it's part of who I am. But I think I don't know, I just when it comes to ghost stories it feels okay that there's less like recorded sightings, like less like solid like big instances of sightings, if that makes any sense. But I want to talk about actually a ghost story that I have experienced, because I think it would be fun. So, in Stowe, Vermont, there is a beautiful covered bridge over this nice little stream, and it's all rocky. It's like very New England woods looking. That doesn't really make sense unless you live in New England, but like when you're walking through the woods in like, I don't know, any wooded part of New England, and you find like a little stream and it's like all rocky and there's not really a beach, but like the water's really nice and it like, I think I'm painting a picture that people who are native to this area definitely can see. And if you can't, if you're not from New England, just Google New England woods stream, I guess, because it'll give you a good idea. But basically, this covered bridge in Stowe, Vermont is like picturesque, like New England beauty. It's so pretty. It's like, it's honestly like, we went there, it's about a 3 hour drive from me. And we got there and I was like, God damn, like I could just sit here and like I don't even like, like I love ghost hunting, but I could really just sit here and like have a picnic and just like enjoy the beauty that is this place. And if you follow me on Instagram, you also may have seen some of the pictures that I posted over the summer of us being there, because it's a beautiful, beautiful area. Anyway, so Emily's Bridge, that's what it's called. It is deep in the woods of Stowe, Vermont, and it is beautiful. So, the legend of Emily's Bridge, there are kind of a few different variations to it, and so it's like, I'll tell you all three of them. Two of them are really similar to each other, and then one of them is kind of just like thrown in there, I guess. But they're all like pretty realistic of like things that could potentially have happened. So, in the 1700s, there was this, I think about probably 16 or 17-year-old girl named Emily. And so her whole deal was that she was in love with this boy who her family did not want her to be with. And, that's a tale we've heard time and time again. And so Emily snuck away in the middle of the night to meet her lover at the bridge. But unfortunately, her parents had found out her plans and sent her dad and her brother to beat up her lover. And so he never showed at the bridge, and she sat there and waited for hours by herself. And she was so overcome, and so like heartbroken that she decided to take her own life. And there are a couple variations of how she did that. One was that she hung herself from the bridge, and then the other is that she drowned herself in the river below, which, having been there, I'm like, probably not, because there's not enough water, I don't think, for you to forcibly drown yourself, because like that's something that people have a hard time doing. That's not an easy way to do that, and I just don't think that one's super realistic. But the other theory, so that's two. We've got the hanging and the drowning. The other theory kind of realistically like makes sense, right? Like, so the other theory is that she was just riding a horse-drawn carriage through this area, and her horse kind of like went a little haywire, and she was flung from her carriage and died in the creek. And I'm like, that makes sense, especially because there are hills on either side of this bridge, and I know that to be true because I have been there. So, so those are the theories of, what has happened there. And it's actually pretty cool because New England loves its ghosts. New England loves its ghost stories and, like, really appreciates its ghosts. And so there's a nice little plaque about Emily and her story and some of the hauntings that happen at this bridge, which I appreciate very much. Thank you, Stowe, Vermont, for that one. But some of the things that people have experienced there are like apparitions, they've heard voices, whispering, really clear responses to questions. People have captured a blue mist on camera that's, ever changing in its shape, but definitely there. And so when we went, we did all of these, little experiments as well, trying to capture at least some of the same evidence as other people. And I specifically captured this beautiful blue mist a bunch of times on my camera. And every time it was shortly after me being like, hey, Emily, like, please show yourself to me. Like, I just want to see you. That would be so cool. And then I would get it and I'd be like, ooh, you look beautiful. I think my approach to ghost hunting is really why the spirits like me, because I'm very, very enthusiastic and very motivational. But Anyway, we got a lot of cool like audio responses as well. All of this stuff is on my ghost hunting blog too. It's in my link tree, which I am now realizing I have not linked to my Spotify yet, but I will, so you guys can read it if you'd like. But it's super cool, and like I love New England ghost stories. Like I think they're really fun. There's a cemetery, excuse me, down the street from where I live. Well, it's not down the street, it's like 15 minutes away, but I've been there a couple times, and it's a perplexing place because it's definitely super active, and I've been there a lot of times, and every single time I've had a different kind of experience with the spirits there. But there is almost nothing, no, not almost nothing, there is nothing about any of the spirits or like the situations that could have caused the spirits to be there about this cemetery online. There's nothing. Like, I've looked it up a couple times just to try to be like, so why is this place so weird? Like, what's happening here? What's going on? And, I found nothing. Literally nothing. The only thing that comes up when you look up this cemetery is one of those find a grave websites. And yeah, and I don't know, I'm about to start making my own theory as to why this place is so crazy and weird. And I say this all the time. My ghost hunting team is, I'm pretty sure, like, pretty tired of listening to me talk about paupers' graves because I talk about them so much because I'm crazy. But paupers' graves are like the graves that are buried outside of the cemetery, and for like a whole slew of reasons. Like, it could have been someone who was a criminal, someone who was poor, someone who was like not part of the church, someone who committed suicide. Like, there are a lot of reasons why you could end up in a pauper's grave. And to me, and in my experience, most of the like super intense hauntings in cemeteries specifically, because I should clarify that a lot of my paranormal investigation experience has been in cemeteries, because my dad loves cemeteries, and that's what we've been doing since I was a kid. But at least for me, and like this obviously is a very general statement, and it's like it doesn't apply to every single like cemetery or graveyard out there, but I found that paupers' graves end up being like kind of the root of all activity. And I think it has like a lot to do with like how these people were treated in death, and how they were usually ostracized from their society, and definitely had a lot of like leftover like residual hatred towards the people around them, which is fair, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling very much today because I love ghosts. But I'm gonna wrap it up because I want to. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, especially now that I'm on Spotify. Hope you guys are liking it. If you have suggestions or requests for topics or anything, message me on Instagram. My Instagram is cryptidbaddie. It's the same as you will see in my Spotify bio. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!